we're an Anglo-Australian business. We have a lot of farming businesses in Australia, and I'm interested to come and see the recent developments in the world of food and ag. I think the label regenerative farming is not particularly useful because I think it's kind of creating a dividing line between one way of farming and another way of farming, and I don't think that's the right way to look at it. I think the right way to look at it is, are you farming in a way that is enhancing biodiversity, sequestering carbon, doing things that are building resilience into the landscape as opposed to making the landscape more brittle, emitting carbon and destroying biodiversity. So I guess what I'm focused on is how we can do that better, make sure that we're enhancing our natural resources, but at the same time continuing to make money and grow lots of food. But the most important thing is that farmers have to recognize that change is good for them as well, and it's good for them, for their hip pocket, and it's not something that's being imposed on them. And I think that at the moment, there is a lot of tension between the desire for some organizations to regulate farmers, as opposed to providing farmers with the right incentives to do things in a different way. I think the biggest challenge is inbuilt into the way that we change the way we farm. I mean, for the last 40 or 50 years, farmers have been taught that anything that's getting in the way of greater productivity and greater yield needs to be disposed of. So that's why we've got this biodiversity crisis now, because farming systems have become very monocultural and they've been destroying biodiversity rather than enhancing it. So how do you reverse that process? I think it goes back to what I was saying before, is you have to demonstrate to farmers that it is in their financial interest to do so. And there's evidence emerging, and we're actually working on a big project in Australia at the moment to show that farmers that are developing their natural capital, developing their biodiversity, are actually inherently more profitable over the longer term. On the one hand, you have people talking about replacing animal proteins with plant-based proteins, and I actually just attended a couple of sessions where people that are working with animal proteins are thinking about how to do that better, how to do animal proteins in a more sustainable way. And I think that the secret to having a truly sustainable farming system going forward is we have to do both. We have to recognize that livestock and animals have a very important part to play in restoring biodiversity. I think that livestock have got an important part to play in restoring landscapes, restoring biodiversity, building resilience. So while all the innovation in plant-based foods is very interesting and very good, and I'm sure that it'll be a lot of businesses that are developing that will be very successful, we have to keep thinking about livestock and the part they're going to play in that process as well.